Hey everybody, this is Grace. In this video, I'm going to talk about something else. I was going to finish a video yesterday. I was doing I'd said in one video I wanted to talk about two topics, but I would probably get to the second one in another video. Well, I finished up that first video, and right whenever while I was finishing up that video, there was a lot of noise going on with some Bubba truck. It was a nice one, but it was still a Bubba truck. And they were making so much noise. They had that muffler thing going on, and they were making so much noise. And as it turned out, they were traveling back and forth behind my house, but they must not have been able to find the neighbors next door. And so they went to the neighbor next door, but they basically parked on the, it's legal. Anybody can park against the curb, on the road. As long as traffic can get through, and it's legal. And anyway, they parked, the part that would be right in front of our house, kind of, not right in front, but to the side, but still right in front of our yard. And they could see me, and they were making a bunch of noise. They were there to see, a guy that lives there, a young guy, and there were young men, three of them all together, not wearing face coverings. Of course, they never do. Those people, that whole family, they don't practice social distancing and masks, none of that stuff. Yeah, I don't know how people can survive long like that. Especially when, like some of them, the older ones. I know of the older one having some really bad health conditions, and I just worry about people. I do. But anyway, they, and I just. With all that going on, and they're making a lot of noise, that's it. I'm going back in. And then today I was trying to make a video, and a plane went by, and it was kind of low, and it was making a lot of noise. And then I said, but at first I thought it was somebody mowing a lawn, and then a plane went over. I said, it must have been the plane, but no. Once the plane got past, I could hear the noise from a mower. And plus, there was a whole bunch of stuff going on. I could see through my rearview mirror, which I couldn't avoid because I see it out of my left eye. And it was because one of the neighbors was having a bunch of stuff, people coming in, whatever. Oh, it was like, come on, seriously. I come outside because, for more than one reason, but one of them is it's too noisy in the house. Okay, I don't need to come outside. It'd be too noisy sitting out in front of my yard. By the way, I know everybody has the right to be doing what they're doing, so that's kind of like a little bit. I don't know if you call it tongue-in-cheek or not, but you get what I'm saying. It's if it were a perfect world, and mine is never a perfect world, not even close, really. But anyway, okay, I got that out. Maybe I just should make that a whole video. Because I want to talk about something. There was this really nice, I don't give shout outs, I don't say the name of the channels and stuff, but because they might not want me to, they might not want me to, plain and simple. But she's a nice woman. She did a video about this hurricane, which one? Not Marco, but I think Marco was supposed to come toward Houston. Then it went the other direction or something. I don't know. But now it's that Hurricane Laura is supposed to hit what they're saying right now, and it's August 25th, 2020. They're saying that it's going to hit somewhere like between Houston, that's in Texas, and Lake Charles, that's in Louisiana, on the Gulf Coast. It's supposed to hit somewhere between there. And then Beaumont is the big one they're talking about in between them. I grew up around there, okay? And I've been through many a hurricane. Believe me, I have. And anyway, she mentioned this about the people who sit wherever they are, and they pass judgment on people for not evacuating. And they say, why would people stay there? I've said that. But I'm talking about the people who could leave, okay, who can leave, but they refuse to. It's kind of like the people who can wear masks or face coverings, and it's mandated here, it's mandatory here in Texas, but they won't, or they'll wear them under their nose. and this kind of thing, just rebels. And but they can. They'll say, "Well, I'm going to not wear one and say I have health conditions." And my thought was like this. My thought went along this way. So they're going to tell a police officer they're not wearing their mask because it's a health condition. Now, how many times do you think a police officer is going to hear that and say, "Here's your ticket, tell it to the judge"? Really? Now, that person's already lied to the police officer. You going to lie before a judge? And what if that judge says, "Show me a doctor's," what the doctor say to that? Think about it. Some of these people think that others are fools. Oh, it's against my rights. Well, no, when it's a pandemic, what is it? Where's that right written that you don't have to wear a mask? Anyway, I got off on a tangent on that one. But yeah, now I understand that people. I grew up there. Okay, I grew up there. I have been where I lived. During which was it? Hurricane Rita. I wasn't living there. I was up here. But during Hurricane Rita, right after Katrina, and I remember 2005. I think Katrina was 2004, right? And then right after it was Rita, or maybe they were right after one another in the same year, 2005. But anyway, Rita hit one of my houses. I had property there, and hit one of my houses. Nobody was living in it. I wasn't there, and it imploded and exploded. The tree was uprooted, a big, huge, old tree. I mean, probably almost, I'd say half as wide, or maybe as wide, I don't know, as my SUV, or a little smart car or something like that, maybe bigger. It was huge. Uprooted it. It was on its side, and the root was up. Yeah, it was bad. And so I wasn't there for that one, but I had been through many of them. When I was younger, we didn't have as much of warnings as they do, of course not, than they do now. And I remember when I was a little kid, my parents, I think my younger sister was born, so it had been 5 kids and 2 parents, and maybe my grandparents, my mother's parents lived next door. We may have all been in that house. I don't know if they were or not, but my grandparents. But yeah, when the water was so high, it came up to the these are houses on pier and beams, and it was so high it came up to the porch, and people were canoeing up and down the street, and they just didn't know that it was going to be anything like this. Okay, and we had to cook on a Coleman burner? Yeah, and yeah. Okay, I couldn't finish that up because I had a sneezing fit. I had to not pause it, but I had to make a new clip. But anyway, it was an awful experience. Okay, it was. Now the question is, I ask myself now, and have before now, is whether my dad knew and just wouldn't take us anywhere. And this is, the woman I'm talking about, like I said, I don't give up, somebody's channel name because they might not want me to. But, about people being judgmental about people who will stay there. Well, my dad was very prideful, okay, and not a good thing. And my grandparents, the ones that lived next door, were very wealthy. And if he didn't have the money, he could have got it from them, and to make the rest of the family safe, and took them along with us. But maybe, whatever reason, no. And they had cars, truck. My mother can drive, he can drive, to get us out of there. But whatever it is, and I always thought the reason he didn't was his pride. Okay. Now I know a lot of people there. Knew a lot when I was young and onward, and I see them on a Facebook group, and on Facebook all around, and too many of them, some I don't know, they could be kids of people I know, adult kids, but so many of them have that mentality. They're not going to leave, like here comes that Hurricane Laura, they're not going to leave, and some of it is just pure laziness and pure stubbornness, that whole attitude of that nothing is ever going to touch them. You know, what is the word? I keep trying to find it. It starts with an I. Anyway, I might as well give up. But, yeah, nothing's going to touch them. That arrogance, you know, some would say narcissistic behavior. You know, nothing's going to touch them. They're just going to ride it out. And like I said, it could be laziness. But I'm not talking about the people who that don't have the money. No. About that. For years now, people who want to leave can get help, financial help to leave. There's no excuse. When I was young, no. When I lived, you know, I owned property there. No, not so much in younger days, but I think since Katrina especially, maybe before then even, but since Katrina and Rita, that kind of thing just doesn't happen that much. That you're there, you're stuck there, you can't leave, because they had like buses. From what I saw on the Weather Channel today, Beaumont is part of a what's it called? Golden Triangle. I think it's Beaumont, Orange, and Port Arthur, I think. But anyway, they have ways people can get on buses and leave and go, and they have places where people are going to be going to. You know, one of them was saying something about they called old hotels or hotels that haven't been open because of COVID-19 or whatever, and they found places for people. And I think they were mainly talking about elderly people, but then they were also talking, I don't know if they mixed that with people who were like in shelters. They have places people can go to be in shelters. But some people are just being stubborn. I'm talking about these stubborn ones. Okay. And some people might not realize that there are people out there that have that kind of mentality. So if somebody's sitting there and being judgmental, maybe they're being judgmental because they're concerned for people they know. I'm not talking about this woman. You know, what she says, she is right. If some people are judgmental and don't understand that some people cannot leave for various reasons, and it's not a perfect world. Okay, and just like face coverings, there are actually people with factual, in fact, have health conditions they can't wear. Now, the doctor has determined that, not them. The doctor, their doctor. Okay, a medical health care professional, or it could be a mental health care professional who stated that. But the fakers who are just doing that because they think it's good to be a rebel. Good to be a rebel. You know, yeah, they go out there and possibly make other people sick and die. Yeah, it's real good to be a rebel to you, right? I really don't like that. I'm very judgmental about that. Extremely judgmental about that. You know, people who don't care if they kill other people, I have a word for that. I know what the word is for it. And it's not a pretty one. Okay, anyway. Yeah. But anyway, I'm dealing, you know, because I know people there. I'm dealing with back to the whole thing of, Hurricane Laura. So today is the day before it's supposed to hit. I think they're saying, they were talking a lot more about where they think it's going to go, and it might shift and all that today. And I think they're saying Wednesday night, tomorrow night, today's Tuesday, that tomorrow night is supposed to hit there. And at first I think they said that what was going to hit was Marco. And that was like 2 days ago they were saying that, but it didn't. I mean, I don't know. It's just, it was getting very confusing. And then they were saying that was going to be Monday, and then things changed. We all know that. That's going to happen. You know, it's going to happen. Plain and simple. Okay? Nobody's up there and can say, let me guide the wind this way, or let me guide the wind that way. No. So they don't know. Okay, I'm thinking it's about time I go inside. Really. Yeah. It was getting darker and darker and faster. But anyway, you know, there are people like me who do so because when you know people who won't believe they're that stubborn, and nothing you can tell them is going to make them listen, because they think they know everything and they're never wrong, kind of thing. And they're putting themselves in harm's way, and they're putting the emergencies personnel in harm's way, because they're being stubborn and they don't care, and they can get help to get out of there and go elsewhere. And as long as they stay, some of them wait until some of them, I personally know, wait until FEMA sends them the money after the fact, after they've had to be rescued, and then they go off and go on vacation for a couple of weeks on FEMA money instead of, yeah. Enough for now. I'll talk to you on another video.